Finally, some action.
Steven, when you get so fat.
Emotional damage!
For those of you who don't know him yet, well, Stephen He is a Chinese actor and a comedy sketch content creator who's probably most well known for his incredibly viral videos starring his Asian dad character. But blowing up on social media was never exactly the plan for Stephen. You see, he's a professionally trained actor with a ton of experience, and he's performed on stage all over the UK, China, and of course, good old US of A. Now, of course, a lot of us know how difficult it is to make a living as an actor, even when you're booking regular gigs. And then when the pandemic hit, well, suddenly Stephen He had to invent a whole new source of income for himself just so he could stay employed. Now, luckily, he was ready for the moment, and if you want to find out more about the come up of Stephen He, well, you're gonna have to sit tight for this episode of Before They're Famous. Stephen He O'Brien, that's right, he was born in Shenzhen, China in 1996. Now, Stephen has a pretty interesting family heritage because he's actually half Chinese and half Irish. That's with his father being the Irish portion of that equation. Now, at the age of only 8 years old, well, Stephen and his family, they packed up and they moved to Ireland. From that point forward, he and his family, well, they would shuttle back and forth between both countries throughout Stephen's childhood.
I am Chinese-Irish. I was born in Shenzhen, China. I moved to Ireland with my family when I was 8, became Irish, and lived between Ireland and China for the rest of my childhood. And once I reached 17, we finished the Leaving Cert, which in Ireland is the exam that ends high school and begins university. What's it called in the United States? The SATs, is it?
Oh, SATs, yes.
On the cusp of becoming a teenager, well, Stephen found his first true love, which was acting, even though at the time, well, he knew so little about the art form that he didn't even know what a monologue was.
I didn't know what a monologue is. Not like how do you perform one. I literally didn't know people stood in front of other people and say an entire paragraph of lines to blank space. I didn't know that.
But from that point forward, well, every action he would take would be a step towards accomplishing his goal of becoming a full-time actor. So after graduating from high school in Ireland, well, Stephen He moved to London, England to pursue a hands-on education at Regent's University, London. While attending Regent's, well, Stephen took a part in acting, film, and television, as well as theater, stage combat, and Shakespearean courses. I do a great Othello. That's another story. And that was on his way to earning a bachelor's degree in acting and global theater. Oh, it wasn't Othello, it's Iago. Iago, the divinity of hell when devils will. Anyway, let's back to him. After graduating from the program, well, Stephen, he would hang around the London theater scene for a couple of months, just looking to find a gig. Now, he did find work at the Mary Lee Bourne Theater, where he played the leading role of Samuel in Mounting the Crucible. Never heard of it? Good for him. From there, he moved on to the Park Theatre, where he landed a supporting role in a production of The Dover Road, before finding further experience at the Edinburgh Festival, performing the leading role in a play called Sink. Edinburgh, it's a tough town to say every time. I just did another video, it messed me up. I've been there, Edinburgh. Now, at this point, Stephen, he was earning a ton of experience, but he still wasn't finding regular work. So he decided to look elsewhere, and he once more made the big move, this time to good old New York City. Once he was in North America, well, Stephen did one very important thing early on. He created a YouTube channel in March of 2019. Now, that channel would sit there more or less unused for a little bit, because soon after landing stateside, well, Stephen also began attending the neighborhood Playhouse School of the Theater in New York City, where he was at for 2 years.
The Neighborhood Playhouse, in my opinion, is gotta be, if not the single best acting school in the world, it's gotta be one of them. I haven't been to Juilliard, so I can't judge them, but I, from my experience in the Playhouse, I believe it to be one of the absolute best.
While taking part in classes in NYC, well, Stephen would also pick up more gigs on the side. Now, his first production in North America was a character named Dennis, and this was in a web series titled Schemers.
Dude, I told you didn't need to bring so much stuff.
Well, you said we were going to the park. I came prepared.
Following that, he booked the lead role of Eason in a television series titled Dinosaur World, which aired on China's biggest streaming platform. Less than 1 month later, he'd land a guest spot on Comedy Central's new series, Awkwafina is Nora from Queens. And in this, well, he played one of Awkwafina's colleagues.
She's the first person to ever give me a chance on a TV production. Because I was in...
Did you have a speaking role?
I did, but that's only like 3-4 lines, a day player. I was.
Well, she has a show on Comedy Central called Nora from Queens.
Yes, yeah, and that was my first time kind of being on TV.
Now, outside of his experience on that Comedy Central series, you might be asking yourself, how the hell did this guy end up in comedy? It doesn't exactly seem like he's got a lot of experience in it, and well, you'd be right. Now, Steven never planned on becoming a comedian because his strength as an actor, well, was almost always in those more dramatic moments.
I've never ever considered myself a comedic actor since my strength in my training and after entering the industry, my strength was always dramatics and just like crying comes really easy to me. That's the stuff that I knew I could execute. Whereas if you're like, hey, Steven, go on stage and be funny for 2 minutes, I'm done. I cannot do that. Not a hope.
But in an attempt to take advantage of the opportunity for exposure that a platform like YouTube provides, well, Steven decided to change all that because he never thought much about his comedy chops to begin with. Now, he started off by writing 10 jokes a day and destroying 9 of them, only hanging on to the best of the best. Considering his methods, well, it makes a lot of sense that Steven believes a lot of his early work, well, it was absolute garbage. And that's why, well, no one watched it. But after spending countless hours observing other comedy channels and learning from them, well, gradually Steven's content, it began to take on a life of its own. For over 100 videos, well, Steven, he kept plugging away, and then on his 120th video, well, he finally earned himself 1 million views. Unfortunately, it wasn't on YouTube, which, you know, but it was on TikTok, which just dethroned Google as the most visited website. Steven, TikTok, China truly has taken over. Anyway, shocked that he'd stumbled upon something so successful, well, Steven created a follow-up video in the same vein that would become even more widely watched with 2 million views. But then everyone, they just kind of stopped watching his clips. All over again. Undeterred, well, Steven, he would continue to plug away. Now, after creating more than 220 videos on TikTok and YouTube, well, Steven finally bought himself a more professional camera to record sketches on. Now, soon after that, well, his YouTube channel, it would quite literally explode. Why, you might ask? 2 words: Asian parents.
I want to be a YouTuber.
Jesus Christ! What the hell you say?
I want to be an influencer.
Our son is stupid. You want to give him the piano lesson. Now he think he's Jackie Chan.
You have to be good looking.
Now, for those of you wondering, no, Steven didn't base this character on his own father, of course, because he's Irish. But his Asian mother character, well, that's a different story.
I created that character entirely of myself, and I don't want people to think my dad calls me a failure and all that stuff. It's not true. It's entirely my creation. My mom, though, my mom is a little bit harsh on me. Like, she'll call me like every week and say, Steven, you're fat. Stop eating so much. True story. I'm not making that up.
And just like that, Steven had discovered his primary brand of comedy. By trying to ensure that his career as an actor would keep on trucking through the pandemic, well, Steven somehow managed to create his very own lane and blow up in the process. Now he's got more than 2 million subscribers on YouTube, and he's approaching 4 million over on TikTok, while also contributing to brand new memes like the emotional damage drop from his "When Asian is a difficulty" mode. That's being utilized by countless users over on TikTok. What a title. Try and say that 3 times fast. I did. That was my 3rd time. 4th. So that kind of begs the question, will we ever see Steven back on stage or on our television screens once again? Or will he continue to entertain us all as one of social media's most promising new content creators? I guess only time will tell. But for now, well, we're going to bring this story to an end because this is before they are famous. I like this one. I like Steven. I had a good chuckle watching some of his videos. My father is also Irish, and his name is Steven, but with a PH. And he put that in my middle name, and Steven with a V, mainly. Steven with a PH, not so much. Anyway, that's it for me. I'll see you guys in another video. Boom!